Hi, welcome back. You're still tuned into Chartbusters on CNBC TV18. Well, Meghmani Finechem, that is the stock in focus after it commissioned its first epichlorohydrin or ECH plant with a capacity of 50,000 tons per annum. This was announced on 1st of June. To discuss this and outlook for the remainder of the business, we are now joined by Maulik Patel, who is the chairman and managing director at the company. Maulik, good morning. Thanks a lot for joining us. Well, this was supposed to be the big trigger for the company and it has now been commissioned. To just get some industry perspective about ECH, which is used to make epoxy resin, which is used in pharma industry, paints, adhesives, and a lot of industries otherwise, can you tell us a little about India's total ECH demand? What's the difference between the price you will be selling it at, what is the current pricing here versus the important price and volumes as well?
Yeah, good morning. So ECH, currently is completely import substitute. Right now, India's demand is around 80,000 tons, metric ton per annum. And it is growing at double digit right now. And currently the major demand is coming from the domestic market, which is, as you rightly said, is epoxy resin is 75%, the pharmaceutical industry is another, and the third one is the paper industries. So globally after COVID, the revival, the paper chemical demand has gone up drastically. Same epoxy resin demand due to the construction sector and the windmill sector, which is a major consumption of the epoxy resin, which is also growing worldwide globally. So ECH, because of the because of the supply chain issues globally, the demand is very high right now. So, and the prices of currently, we are expecting around 250 to 280 kind of rupees realization. We are going to get it from the export and domestic little less. Yeah.
How much lesser is it in the domestic markets, if you can quantify that?
Sorry, domestic market?
Yes, the pricing in the domestic market. You said domestic realizations are slightly lower for ECH. How much lower are they?
So it is going to be in the range of between 230 to 280s. You can kind of consider based on the application, because different application is a different requirement, and some of the ECH demand is going into the specialty sector as well.
So about % lower is the domestic realization from what you said. Maulik, can you also tell us, now that 80,000 demand is the annual 80,000 ton is annual Indian demand, what would your initial capacity at this new plant be? And what would the ramp-up schedule be? As a result of which, what is the kind of revenue that you can do from this plant?
Yeah, so we have started in 1st of June. So slowly and gradually, probably in the second quarter, we will ramp up around 50,000 ton of capacity, not 50, but 50% of the capacity. And gradually the quarter and quarter, we will ramp up the capacity up to 85%. So we are expecting to ramp up the capacity 85% by Q4 this financial year.
And this is a 50,000 ton plant, right?
Yes, 50,000 ton plant.
And at peak capacity, what would your revenue be on this?
So based on the prevailing prices, currently we are expecting around, if optimum level per 85% it will run, then it will be around 1,000 crore kind of turnover we are expecting from the ECH.
Okay. And how has pricing been for ECH? We've seen that across commodities that prices have been going up. So 250 rupees per kg that you're talking about right now, how much has it increased over last couple of years, last 1 year to be precise? And what kind of pricing scenario is visible from here on?
So after COVID, it has gradually increased from around 170, not COVID, but before 1 year it was around 170, 180 rupees, and it has increased to 250 kind of rupees right now in the market. And that is because of it's a global demand. This is a demand driven. So whatever the input cost which is increased, due to the crude oil prices, or we are able to pass on to the customers because of the high demand globally.
So this price is going to sustain at around that 230 to 250 level according to you?
Yes, we expect if the crude oil price will remain same, then definitely it will sustain. And because it is a demand driven, it is not because of there is any force majeure kind of situation in the world. Yeah.
Maulik, last time we had spoken to you, of course, Q4 numbers are really strong, but you did mention that you will not be able to sustain margins at those 30% mark. 28% is something you can do. Is ECH a higher margin product? How much will it add to you, or what will it look like in your overall margin picture?
And definitely the current price is good, so we can get a good margin. But yeah, in the long-term perspective, we are expecting around 28 plus or minus 2%, which we have given a forecast for as a company as a whole, that will sustain. Yeah.
And the FY22 revenue outlook is FY23 revenue outlook is what? Given that you have a new plan, yeah.
Yeah, so we are expecting, around 2,250 crore kind of revenue we are expecting based on the current prevailing prices. Because we are expecting, one more plant we are going to commission by Q2 end, which is CPVC, which is also completely import substitute in India.
So what happens to your, debt? Because the long-term debt is still about 900 crores. You've guided for a net debt to EBITDA sub 2x, but at an absolute level, with the kind of capex that you're incurring, would you have an increase in debt, or would you probably look at repayment of some as well?
Yeah. So, our peak capex cycle was almost over. As we rightly said, major capex, which is caustic expansion and the CPVC, which is going to over by Q2 end. So almost majority of the capex which is done. So this is a peak debt which we have, and based on the cash flow coming from the ECH and the CPVC and the additional capacity of the caustic soda, we are going to start repaying the debt, as well as, and the dividend also we are going to start paying by this year onwards.
Okay, so you'll be paying dividend by this year is what you're saying?
Yes.
And what happens to the R&D center for chlorotoluene? Is that something that will also be commissioned this year? What is the R&D expenditure as a percentage of your overall revenues?
Yeah. So R&D center which we are coming, that is our ongoing project we just started, which is chlorotoluene, its derivative, which is also applicable for the agrochemicals and the pharmaceutical intermediate, which is also completely import substitute right now in India. So in last 5 years, the specialty chemical companies, which is growing very fast, they are still depend on the Chinese raw material or the other part of the world. So we are going to replace those raw material based on the Indian manufacturing, and which will start by Q4 this 2024. And for that, we have started constructing. We have already purchased a land nearby Ahmedabad, which is Changodar, and where we are going to start construction probably in next month onwards, and we'll complete it by next year end.
Maulik, is there any other player who is looking at opening an ECH plant as well, given India's strong demand going forward? You would be 50,000 tons per annum. I'm sure the market would be attractive for other players to enter in as well. That's point number one. And with the kind of price action that we're seeing, is there a possibility that you prepone your 2027 target of 5,000 crores on the top line?
Yes. So the demand in India, which is growing very fast, so definitely other players are also looking at ECH as a molecule to fulfill the demand of the domestic demand. And yes, we are targeting 2027 5,000 crore, but we'll stick to that right now, because current situation we expect that we will additional project which we announce after the CPVC and the caustic soda, once it is commissioned, probably we'll announce another project which can lead us to reach 5,000 crore.
What segment will that project be in?
So our focus is completely on the integrated model, which we are producing chloroalkali and their derivatives. So we are going to remain there till we reach to 5,000 crore, which is chlorine derivatives or the hydrogen derivatives.
Okay, and chloralkali, the segment is definitely in a bullish mood right now. Maulik, thanks a lot for joining us and explaining this new plant that you've commissioned and the business outlook otherwise as well. That's the word coming in from Meghmani Finechem. With that, we'll slip into a short break now.